Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Leah.
Hello. How are you?
Well, good. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Nervous but excited.
We're so excited to be having you here on Adobe Live. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you are new around here, let us know in the chat. If you're a longtime viewer, let us know where you're watching from. It's always awesome. I see a few people already in here that I recognize. Hi, Cody Bear. Hi, Farah. Hi, Sean. Hi, Alexis. Hi, Clever. Hi, Rope Robert. Hi, Fairy. I see some very familiar names and I'm super excited. Oh my gosh. Well, we've got so much going on. I mean, on top of having International Women's Day earlier this week, we are celebrating all women, all female creatives this week. And so if you were sticking around from Voodoo Val's challenges, thank you so much. And we've got a lot of stuff planned. So we've got Leah here. So excited to have you. And we're working on some really fun stuff over the next couple of days. And yeah, you're a graphic designer. Where are you based?
I am. I'm a graphic designer and I'm based in Manchester in the UK. Um,
Amazing.
yeah.
Is it pretty cold over there?
It's starting to warm up now, but it's getting
Okay.
to springtime where it's just miserable and raining all the time. Um, but yeah, it's not too
Amazing.
bad.
Oh, awesome. Well, I see a few people in here hopping in. Thank you guys for being with us. And yeah, we've got some exciting stuff. Leah's going to be doing some fun composites all surrounding the theme of, overcoming your fears and yeah, just facing your fears. Right?
Yep. Because if
Love
anyone
it.
didn't know, I'm terrified right now.
You are going to be fine. And I'm so excited. You guys, you have to follow this girl on Instagram because her work is amazing. Thank you for putting that up. So it's Leah _ Jackson _ UK. So you're a graphic designer primarily, but you kind of do all of this amazing digital art and I'm obsessed.
Yeah, so I am a graphic designer by day, but always in my free time, I sort of like to look at the areas of design that I wouldn't necessarily be able to in my day job. Um, Sometimes that's just to get away from client work that's branded all the time, when you just
Yeah.
want to do something a bit, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Something for
It's going
yourself.
to shout at me now. Um,
That's
but
amazing.
I should have logged in earlier. Sorry.
That's okay. A couple people are jumping in. Oh, thank you, Cody, for putting in Leah's Behance. Um,
Thank you.
Kyle says hi. Benjamin says hi, Leah.
Hi.
General Kenobi, hello there. Afrosia, hello, everyone. Aw, Fairy says, I love the Parrot Island one.
I think that's on Behance.
Yeah, amazing. Well, yeah, again, we
Oh,
have so much stuff going on this week. I'll be, saying a few things that are going on by different female creatives. And so I'll be, dropping some little nuggets of fun streams that you should definitely join or that will be available for replay or for Creative Encore. But yeah, so Leah, what are you going to be working on? And let's, dive right in.
so today, I mean, obviously the title kind of gives you an overview of the theme,
Yes.
but it's about facing your fears. So when I got the email to do this, first of all, I freaked with excitement, but then I sort of just had a massive spiral of anxiety, really. I was like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. When you just sort of, your head fires loads of excuses at you, and it's not necessarily logical, but
Exactly.
just everything's negative. And, I sat on it for a bit and I'm like, instead of sort of submitting to those feelings, why don't we do a piece around those feelings?
I'm obsessed. I
Um,
love this. That's amazing, Leah. This is literally the way that you express, yourself through
yeah,
your art.
I mean, when we were discussing what I was going to do today, Lee said, would you have a problem sharing this with people? And I'm like, well, no, absolutely not. Because I think a lot of us creative people as well, sometimes we can especially struggle, getting things out in words, and we'll often take to pen and paper or Photoshop in my instance. So, I just wanted to sort of encourage people to be doing stuff like this, no matter what you're feeling. You might be incredibly happy. You can do something around that.
Yeah, exactly. And you might be surprised by the outcome, and, and then that's you overcoming your fears, and you might have learned something new, which is awesome. Everyone's applauding your work, Leah, on the chat. Haley says, beautiful work. Lorna says, hi, Leah.
Hi.
Farah says, you're doing amazing, Leah. Cody says, lovely work. So everyone's saying, well said, and we love it. So this is such a good topic. I'm so excited to see it all come together.
Yeah, so these are the images that I've found. They're all from Adobe Stock, apart from this one, which, if you, a little self-plug here, if you go to my website, I have a download section where you can download smoke, particles, textures, and dust overlays. That's all for free.
That's amazing.
Knock yourself out if you want to use any of those. Is that just an English saying, knock yourself out?
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, these are the images we're going to be working on today. And the idea was that this is a slimmer version of me. And this dragon was sort of representing the anxiety and the challenge that I had to overcome to be sat here today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm happy to jump into it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just as a quick reminder, you guys, if any of you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hop on over to behance.net/live. This is where you can interact with Leah, ask her questions, anything that you comment on YouTube, like we won't be able to see, so I can't like say anything back or ask Leah. So please head on over to Behance. That's where we'll be. But yeah, a lot of people are loving your work. Moda Void says, stunning work, Leah. Thank you, Cody, for plugging in her website. Hi, Michelle. And Robert says, thanks, Leah. And that they'll check your site out. I love that you offer those resources.
Yeah, I mean, my website's fairly new, so I am still working on some stuff. But eventually, I'd quite like to be sharing brushes and things, because I'm conscious at the minute I am using a lot of resources from here, there, and everywhere. And it'd be quite nice just to have a little hub, which, yeah, for selfish reasons, it'd be for myself, but yeah, I'd be quite happy to share that, because it's obviously helpful for a lot of people.
I love that. Yeah, well, we're all looking forward to diving right in, so I'll let you take it.
Okay. So just a bit of an overview of how I usually set my files up. Mm-hmm. So I usually work on a 4x5 radius, just so that it sits within Instagram, really.
Right.
So I use 4,000 by 5,000 pixels. And I do set it to 300 resolution, just in case I decide to print it at any point. Mm-hmm. But it kills the computer sometimes.
Don't all Photoshop projects do.
It'll probably do it a few times a day. If for some reason you see it just freeze a little bit, it'll still save, it'll still function, but I have to reopen it again. So that is my computer.
You know what? That is okay. That happens. It's not uncommon. Aw, Anna McNaught is in here. Hi, Anna.
Oh, bless her. Hi.
Oh, I love Anna.
I do as well. She's so sweet.
She's so sweet.
Right, so just to start off with, I've obviously got this background image. Now, looking at all these different photos, this background image is definitely the one that I want to sort of match all the colours up with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start with this one and just quickly do a content aware fill. So hopefully that will extend the area
Oh, yeah.
of the background image. Let's give it a couple of seconds.
Nice.
It's such
Gus
a
says
good
hi,
tool.
Leah.
Hi, Gus.
And Fairy says, my Photoshop's frozen a lot too.
To be fair, it is my computer. But if you see that, it's done a really good job of just extending that smoke. So just with this small line on the edge, I'm just going to get the clone tool, sample the area next to it, and then just literally do it that way. Done. So now I'm just going to convert the background and the content aware into a smart object, just in case I need to do anything with it and, you know, apply a filter or anything. I can change it later. So I'm quite happy with that. I have pre-masked the images which I'm going to be using, these ones, just purely because I tend to be a bit over the top and I'll use the pen tool for a lot of things.
Yes.
So when it comes to things like rocks, you know, I'm not overly bothered about if they've got a bit of a pixelated edge. I really don't mind. But when it comes to main subjects, I do like to sit and use the pen tool, which I'm not the fastest at, so please forgive. So
but
yeah,
it's like these composites that you kind of have to be somewhat detailed, you know, like the selections really matter, the masks.
Yeah, especially when you start painting lighting on. As soon as you've got a bit of a jagged edge, as soon as you put a bright light on it, it really gets you.
Totally.
So this is the composition that I'm going to be working towards today. Get rid of that one. No, we can't.
How long do you think it takes you for selecting?
Honestly, it varies. Like, it could be 10 minutes for the dragon, 5 minutes for her, but I was a bit panicky thinking under pressure today I might be all over the place shaking. So it's not a ridiculous amount of time, but it's enough. But these are the sorts of things where I like to just put Netflix on and just sit here. And
oh my gosh, we're the same.
The only thing I don't like about that is obviously if you want to do a speed art and you press record for your screen, your Netflix screen goes off.
Oh, yes.
So you need it on a separate thing.
Yes.
So the first thing that I can obviously notice wrong with this is the way that the dragon's looking.
Right.
So really, you know, he's looking over there. I don't know what's going on over there, but we're going to try and fix that.
Okay.
But when you zoom in, the pupils do actually look like they're looking. It's a bit strange.
That's so weird.
So, but I think it's because your eye's so used to looking at the black parts for being pupils. Right. But as soon as you register, it's the orange. Anyway, we're fixing it.
Fixing it. Got it. Barry has a question. Do you ever challenge yourself to mask everything only with the mask and a brush?
No. Honest answer. No. Is that something that might help?
I don't know. Fairy just also commented, that is fast, referring to how fast you go. They say, I mask it for like 30 minutes if I use a pen tool.
Oh, right. I think it's just the more you use something.
Yeah.
You know. I remember I had a
really
job. I had a job a few years ago, which sort of I just had to sit there all day, every day, masking things out, and it was so stupid.
Oh no!
But I did get quite quick at it. So I'm just gonna fill in the full eye with an orange.
Oh yeah, so fun. Christy says, following you all, I'm a beginning graphic designer, and you all are inspiring. I should be doing homework.
Oh,
that's so nice. Ooh, Farah
So,
says, already looking really good. Loving the composition.
thank you. So
Do
now,
you find that the composition, like, do you have an idea of what that's going to be before you start, or does it take a little bit of, a journey?
It takes me quite a while, if I'm being perfectly honest. Sometimes I might put something together and it works within the first 5 minutes and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Other times I might sit for an hour changing the position of something so simple as a rock in the middle of a screen. I can get quite pedantic sometimes and I'm like, it's not right, and just end up stressing over the most stupid thing. But I guess it's one of those things now where when I first started learning how to do it, I was quite focused with how much time I was taking. Because obviously with having a design job, you're all deadline oriented all the time, aren't you? So it's like, go, I must finish. And over the past few months, I'm like, what are you doing? This is supposed to be relaxing. So now I try not to sort of put that kind of pressure on. It's just one of those things. It takes however long it takes.
I love that. I love that perspective.
So now I'm just going to sort of turn this up a bit and try and burn the edges of this orange just a little bit, to give it a bit of depth. It's not anything drastic, but
some dimension.
It's enough. So already you can see that's looking better.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just going to convert that to a smart object.
Ooh, Matt is asking, have you ever used the pen as a shape instead of as a path and then masked the layer from the shape selection?
I have done. I can't remember what tutorial I was doing. It wasn't too long ago. I think it was sort of creating textures on different planes and they were teaching you how to do it using shapes. I can understand why people would prefer to do it that way, but for me, I just get a bit confused. But yeah, it is a good way to do it.
Right. I mean, there's just so many ways to do one thing. And it's fascinating to see from one creative to the next.
That is the good thing about Photoshop, isn't it? There's so many different methods to get from A to B, and none of them are necessarily wrong. It's just whatever works more for you.
Yeah.
So I've just added a hue and saturation adjustment layer. If you don't know how to do that, there's like this little, I don't even know what kind of icon down below. It's just hue and saturation from there.
Nice.
And then I'm clipping it to the dragon just by holding down the option key and clicking in between. Nice. But you can click this little button here.
Oh, okay.
The reason I'm using adjustment layers rather than doing it directly onto the dragon is just so if I change my mind at any point, I can just go back and alter values and fix whatever. I might decide I want him a completely different colour in the end, which is fine. But as pretty as this dude is, I don't actually want a lot of magenta in him. So I'm taking all that out.
Sue Watson says, that's a very smiley dragon.
Well, Sue, we're always happy over here. I know, Sue.
It's reveling at your, it's your fear.
Yes, it's smiling. Mocking me.
It's mocking you. Yeah, that's what it is.
And then the master. Yeah. So
Hi, Jan Eric. Jan Eric says I need to learn the pen tool. So
pen tool's very therapeutic. So I'm quite happy with that. So we've gone from nice, pretty, non-offensive dragon to something a bit. A smiley, darker dragon.
Yes. I know, you take the color out and it just becomes more evil for some reason.
I'm not too happy with the shadows though, like, so I'm gonna go to image, adjustment, shadow and highlights. And again, the good thing with this is I can mess around with the shadows and things, but because my dragon is a smart object, if I decide that I don't like the values, I can just double click it and change them again, which is
that's cool.
Pretty good.
Yep. Someone, Quasi said, non-destructive design. Love it.
Yeah. To be honest, this is one of the reasons why I started looking at compositing. I mean, I don't mind sharing. I've only been doing it about a year.
That's amazing.
And a year ago, I had an operation, which meant I had to suck it up and stay in bed for a few weeks. And everyone was like, you're going to go insane, no work to do. I'm like, tell me about it. But I started watching a lot of speed edits on YouTube, and I genuinely couldn't understand what all these layers were. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong, or are they doing something? So, you know, as soon as I got up and I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, like I was editing really destructively all these years.
I think all of us start doing that, or in the very beginning, you know?
Yeah, it was just bad. I'm not sure of the lightness of the eyes, but we can change them later if needed. Nice. So the thing that I usually do next, and I do it across pretty much all of my pieces, is I'm going to darken up everything. So it's probably going to look a bit extreme and terrible to start off with. But I promise, clip that. It does get better.
Okay, so I love it. I love it.
This is one of the things where, again, I used to struggle with, because I would look at this and I would think that is way too dark.
Right.
But when you think about the fact that we're going to be painting some more lights back in, it all sort of balances out in the end. So I'd just say, if you're looking to do something like this, don't be scared to just whack it all the way down. You can always change it later.
Exactly.
Fairy
says, would you mind if I want to do a collab with you, Leah? That's so nice.
Sure, hit me up.
Yeah, follow her on Instagram and connect with her. I mean, I love how I'm like speaking for you, but I'm sure you're open and you're, you know, you love learning with everyone else. So
I do, I genuinely do. You know, sometimes it's a bit hard to sort of get a lot of time to do extra things, but I'm definitely game whenever I do have free time.
Yeah, but we're all about community, right? Like, this is the whole point of Adobe Live too. It's just, you know, we're all kind of learning together and making friends and, you know, building the community around us. So that's always a good thing.
It is, definitely. But that goes for anyone. If you know, you want to reach out, hit me up.
Awesome. Well, you guys have her Instagram and her site. So Robert says, Leah, have you tried this pen's content aware tracing tool, the curvature pen tool? Then you do selections. I'm like, wow.
Help. What's that?
I know, right? Like, whoa, what's so that? Many things. Robert, you're going to have to explain for us.
Yeah, explain. We might give it a go. We might be a bit too scared.
Oh, Cody says, I'm still a destructive artist. LOL.
No, Cody. Come to the light side.
Come to the light side. I love that. Okay, but I'm actually really obsessed with how you said that you're going to like be painting in some lights, because that's like such a, you know, that's what photography is. And so like kind of like that term, that phrase is so, it's perfect.
Mm.
Amazing.
See, that looks a bit much. I'm thinking I can use the same layer that I've got for those foreground rocks, but maybe brighten it up a little bit. So I always think the things in the foreground should always have more contrast and more blacks in than anything in the background. Just as a general rule, obviously, you can nitpick certain things, but So, I mean, I'm quite happy with that at the minute. So the next thing that I'd be thinking about is the light source. So we obviously have this sort of volcano exploding over here, but in reality, that's not going to really cast any strong lights over here, is it? If anything, it's going to be quite blurred out. It's not going to create any harsh edges. So I am going to find my magic file folder.
Haley says, we'll need to form a line for Leah collabs. How cute. I love it. Fairy's asking, do you have any tips on drawing highlights?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to go through all that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So Farrah's also excited for the highlights. So people are wanting that. That'll be good.
I think I've broken my computer already.
Oh no. And Cody
there
says,
we go.
Painting on light always brings any project to life. So fun. Yep. Totally agree.
Have to agree.
Yeah.
So where do we want the fire? Maybe there. So I'm just going to change the blend mode of this fire image to screen, I think. That needs to go behind the rocks.
I feel like blending modes are so underrated.
Especially screen and multiply.
Yes.
They are the go-to. They are the gods. But yeah, just by adding just a bit of fire here, straight away we can now start thinking, well, this is going to be lit here. The dragon's going to be lit on his belly side. You can start sort of visualizing where these lights are going to be coming from, rather than
the
relying.
Light would bounce.
So I mean, that looks pretty good to me. I'm being picky now, but might want to get rid of some of the larger bits that are over his leg. A bit distracting.
Very nice.
And then now again, I always sort of leave painting the highlights until last, just because I find they take the longest, and I always want to be sure that I'm happy with the way everything's structured before spending so long on doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the next thing I'd look at is, right, what's out of place? And for me, these rocks are massively out of place now. So you've got all this fire and stuff going on, and then these are just like, hey, we're here. So
we're here, we're planted.
Yeah. Please don't forget about us. So I have this beautiful sort of magma texture image.
Ooh.
Again, this is from Adobe Stock.
Love it. Gotta shout
I know
them out.
I know that I've put this sort of screen up to give reference to the images I'm using, but I also have a draft project set up on Behance. So at the end of the 2 days, I'll make that public, and you'll all be able to see the numbers and things of the stock. So if you wanted to give this a go for yourself.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you, Leah. I'm sure people would appreciate that and would want to follow along and give it a go. That's cool.
So,
okay, Robert said, he explained, I use curvature pen tool, then I do selections 10 times faster than the normal pen tool, and then content aware tracing tool is the new tool in the pen tool group. Oh, okay, so this is a new thing. Got it.
You can all laugh at me now. What are we doing here? Oh my god, what is this? What is this witchcraft?
I know, right?
Right, let's forget about that.
But hey, Robert, thank you for explaining, Robert.
Robert needs to put a video up now.
Oh my god, I know, right?
I am intrigued.
Seriously.
I am gonna write that down. Excuse me a second, because that is clearly something.
Yeah. And Fairy says, screen, multiply, and overlay are the top 3 blending modes for me.
Well, you might get a new favourite one after today. There is one we haven't mentioned yet. Right, so what I'm going to do with this, first important, put it to a smart object, because I am going to be scaling this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone that isn't aware, if you start scaling things which aren't smart objects, they start losing the clarity and they go quite pixelated.
Right.
So it's just always best. If you need to rasterize it at some point, you can do. What I want to do is sort of get this texture onto the rocks. And obviously I've had a play with this before coming on. And the thing I didn't like about using sort of one of the blend modes, what are we on? Need to get this above there. No, I've lost it. Is the more I start messing with the values, trying to get it to match perfectly and stuff, just it sort of doesn't blend with the rocks nicely. So I am actually going to leave it as a normal layer, and just put a curves adjustment on it and sort of try and darken it up a bit.
Ooh,
to match it.
Kind of blend it in.
Yeah, because I'm not overly bothered about the brightness of these. All I'm trying to do is just make it sort of look as though it fits as part of the scene.
Right.
Because what we also don't want is these rocks to look too magma-y, because she'd set on fire. And we don't want to be killing her off, do we?
Yes. Sue's so asking if the if the dragon has a name.
I mean, chat can name him. What do you want to call him?
Noor says Mushy.
Mushy.
I love it.
We could have a little competition.
Yeah, let us know what the dragon should be named. I mean, it has to be something scary, right? Because it's supposed to be our fear.
Was there a cartoon where there was a dragon called Norbert or something? Why have I got Norbert in my head? I have no idea. Yes.
And Fairy's asking, my question is, how did the photographers take that magma texture photo? I know, right?
Let's pray for them. Are they still alive? Who knows?
Right? Ooh.
I don't even know. Do you think it might...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think it might be a 3D render? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now these days, like 3D renders can be so realistic. Like they're just...
My friend Haley, she's a 3D artist, and she blows me away with the stuff that she renders. It's incredible.
That's awesome. Jan Eric had a fun little suggestion. Maybe we can add some glowing lava cracks on the dragon itself, like it's made of lava. Ooh, like a lava dragon.
Okay. Okay, we'll see.
Oh, Noor says sometimes our biggest fears can be our most precious allies. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see you building it out. Looks looking good.
Yeah. This is one of those things. We were having a chat earlier about saying what takes the longest to do when you're compositing, and it's just little fiddly things like this. So looks a bit all over the show at the minute, but what I'm going to do is mask it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So nice. I've just masked the entire thing out, and all I'm going to do is get a white brush, which is really, really soft. Probably I'll leave the flow as it is, but just start sort of painting on some areas where I think it'd look all right. I was gonna, like I said earlier, I was gonna change the screen mode, but I actually want to keep some of, like, I don't know if you can see it or not. Can you see like this magma texture? Yeah, just to sort of merge it together a bit better.
Fairy says the dragon should be called Peter.
Peter. Why Peter?
I have no idea. Aw, Quasi says, love Leah's northern humor. Fellow UKer here.
Yay.
I love it. That's awesome. If you guys are just now joining us, we are here with Leah Jackson. She's primarily a graphic designer, but she's definitely a Photoshop wizard. And she's working on these awesome composites today and tomorrow that are all about, overcoming your fears, facing your fears. And, it's awesome. I love it already.
Just to say as well, I know a few people have asked on Instagram, what drawing tablet do you use? And I am just using my mouse.
Amazing.
So if you just have a mouse, don't sweat it. It's fine. You're all good.
It's all good.
There are certain occasions, don't get me wrong, I do have a drawing tablet here, which I'm currently using as a second screen. But I have that for work because we do a lot of illustrations. But when it comes to doing Photoshop work, I don't find it natural personally. And I know a lot of people will be screaming saying, what? But I'm a mousy. I like it.
I love it. Yeah. I'm the same way too.
Are you?
I haven't gotten, I definitely don't do any composite work like you do, which is amazing. But the mouse just seems so much more comfortable to me. I don't know. Seems more natural, like you said.
Yeah. I don't know.
And it's fine. Everyone has their own thing.
I remember I must have only been about 6 years old. I'm not telling you how long ago that is. But I remember my dad bought this little gizmo. And do you remember like the roller balls in mice?
Yes.
It was a pen, but it had a roller ball for the tip.
Oh my gosh.
And the left and right little clicky buttons is a big fat chunky pen.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm wondering maybe if that's traumatized me.
Maybe. Oh man, old technology is funny. Aw, Farah says, loving all the details. Cody says, Dragon's name could be Dismay. Jan Eric says, can we name him Obsidious from like obsidian, like lava rock? Sue says, Hooch the Dragon. Love it. So many good suggestions. And Farah says, loving all the details.
We're going to have to actually pick a name at some point.
I know, right?
Can I give you that responsibility? Because everyone's giving good names.
I know.
I don't want to be the bad guy. I'll let you do that.
Okay. When I see a good one, I will shout it out. I like Obsidious so far. I think that sounds very cool.
Got meaning as well, isn't it?
It sounds mean, yeah.
The smiling mean dragon.
I know. So fun.
So like these aren't perfect, but you sort of get the idea. Mm-hmm. What I don't want, and this, this gets me all the time, is it sort of gets a bit repetitive. So you can see here, I've got this shape, then it's there, then it's there. So, if you're doing something like this, just be mindful to keep your eye on that, because it's something that I often overlook, and I've noticed other people do overlook it as well.
Right.
So just keep your eye on that.
Mm-hmm. And then you can play around with transforming it, kind of switching it over. I already forget the word, but when you flip it horizontally or vertically or any of that.
Yeah, I think as well for stuff like this, it's sometimes nice to do like a perspective warp on it.
Ooh, yes. Smart.
So you can sort of make it look a bit flatter. I don't particularly think it matters with textures too much, because nobody really looks at it and thinks, oh, that should be upright.
Yeah.
Well, even just doing that has changed the appearance from that.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. I love that. Good tip.
So yeah, just
Thanks, Leah.
small little things. Don't be frightened to click buttons and see what happens. Unless you're me, I'm terrified of pressing the wrong button right now because I feel like everyone's gonna go, ah.
No, don't worry. You know, it happens. I've definitely done it. So this is looking so cool. And I love the colors too.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these rocks as well. I think they need a bit more red in them to match up with these. In fact, I'll do that now or I'll forget. Oh, wrong one. There we go, wrong button pressing. So I'm just going to add a colour balance layer here. This is another one of those things where you could approach it in 5 different ways. This is just what I feel comfortable with. So again, don't be afraid to take it to the extreme and then work your way back. Because I find sometimes I'm guilty of it myself. I think, oh, there we go, there's a little bit, and it's never enough.
Yes.
So, don't be. So that looks about right for now. But again,
Very nice.
because it's an adjustment layer, no sweat, we can change it later. And do the same to those back rocks. So already it looks like it's blending in a bit better than before.
Quasi says, best way to learn a lot of Adobe products is just to mess around.
Agree.
And they say Command Z is your friend. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I know. And I feel like all of these like Adobe live streams, like there's just so much that you can learn from all the time, which I should mention too, that you guys are all more than welcome to watch Adobe Live, like, outside of the schedule of what's happening, because Adobe has like brought on different live streamers to just kind of live stream, you can pretty much watch Adobe Live at any point, really, and like learn so much from many different creatives. So it's really awesome.
Messing up my layers now. I'll play shortly. Just whatever I've done there. It's not quite right. We'll fix it.
We'll fix it.
We shall. Let's just get this Magma in place.
Matt says, do you group your layers?
Yeah. So at the minute, they're all a bit of a mess. But this will become the foreground rocks. And then, of course, we'll have layers for each individual one. I think, especially because I work with a lot of adjustment layers, things can get messy very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't go over the top and put names on all my adjustment layers, but I am very conscious of naming the actual layer that it's referring to.
Nice.
So, I mean, it is fairly obvious with the arrows.
Very nice. I love it. Jan Eric also is commenting saying, I just noticed Leah's scroll bars and ruler markings are blue. How did you do that?
I do have a video on my YouTube of how I did it, but I'm going to be completely honest with you all. The Photoshop training channel has recently done a video. I think it's called How to Change Your Color UI in Photoshop, and he gives 2 options on how to do it, and it's there's a lot more clarity around it in his video, so I would encourage you to watch his and not mine. But yeah, it is possible. Any of you can do it.
Amazing.
It's quite fun to change it up once a week as well, so you don't get depressed.
I like that.
I've done something and I can't figure out what.
So Fairy's asking, how do you accurately match the color of your subject to your background?
Honestly, I do it by eye. I know that there are technical ways of doing it, and I've watched quite a few videos where people will, there's some where people make it grayscale and then alter the levels to grayscale, but to me, I'm just like, No. Eyes. That's what my eyes are for. But again, you know, people might be wincing at me saying that. It's whatever works for the individual.
Exactly.
But personally, I'll just eyeball it. And, you know, I don't always get it right. I might look at this in a week and think, oh, what were you thinking? But it's all part of the learning process, isn't it?
Right. Do you revisit any of your projects or
I want to. That's one of the things that I really want to do this year, because I am so embarrassed by.
Why? Your
No,
work
honestly,
is amazing.
I'll show you. This one, right? This has probably the most likes out of my entire page, and it's the image which I hate the most.
But it's so cool.
I want to sort of get the same assets, remake it as I would now, but also do that as a look, here's the difference after a year.
Right.
Not sort of, yeah, it'll be great for me to see
your progress, your growth.
But also to sort of encourage people, look, you know, you might not particularly like what you're doing today, but if you keep at it in a year's time, this will be it. And
I love that, Leah.
You know, hopefully in another year's time, I'll look back at this and think, oh my God, you know, but that's sort of my aim. You know, if I can look back at a year gone and see how much improvement has been made, then that's surely a job well done. Do you feel the same, or am I just being hard?
No, I think that's perfect. I mean, I think you're being hard on yourself, but I do agree with you in that, you know, I definitely have looked back at a GIF that I made or something, and I'm like, man, like there's so many things that I would do differently today. And yeah, I mean, we can all be hard on ourselves, right? But it is nice to like see the progress and how much your technical skills have like improved when it comes to editing. So I think it's awesome. I love the way that you put it.
You are the best you can be for today.
Exactly.
And tomorrow that will be a bit better.
Oh my gosh, Cody
I can throw these quotes all day.
Cody says that's how that usually goes on social media. You never know what people will love, even if you are the artist. You as the artist don't like it very much. So true.
This isn't working. Nah.
Anyway, I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about what's going on this week. So we did have B, this past Monday and Tuesday, who's a Brazilian director, designer, animator, and illustrator based in Stockholm. She does a lot of illustrating, and she had this awesome stream. And so that's going to be our creative encore that's popping up again, I believe. I can't remember exactly the dates, so I don't want to like say them, but they're going to be happening again for Creative Encore. So, and then, yeah, we had Joanna, who's a UX designer. She was in the afternoon on Monday and Tuesday, working in Adobe XD. And then, of course, we have Leah today and tomorrow, which is awesome. So make sure that you guys stick around to see the final results. So exciting. And, of course, in the afternoon, Claudia from Print My Soul. She's also actually based in Manchester, which is awesome. She'll be sharing kind of like her full design process between InDesign and Illustrator. And so, there's lots of things going on, you guys. You got to like just, put Adobe Live in the background as you're editing or as you're doing things and kind of join the conversation and learn from different creatives, all the time. So, I found it. So B's Creative Encore is today and tomorrow. Yep. Amazing.
I actually watched her live streams and they were really, really good. Yeah.
I chimed in for a little bit in the beginning and it was so cool. I was like, whoa. And it was surrounding like, Women's Day, which is awesome.
Yeah. Her illustration style is amazing. I'd love to be able to illustrate like that. I find sometimes I get a bit too particular and I'm trying to make things look too humanistic. And I'm like, I just wish I could sort of,
Yeah.
I want to be her.
Aw. Hey, we'll all get there, right? Okay, so I'm curious. So you're a graphic designer. That's kind of what you do, by day.
Yep.
But you said you started doing these composites about a year ago?
Yeah.
And how did that come about? What brought you to it?
After my operation, I was
Oh, that's
just,
right. Yeah.
I had to stay in bed. It was a miserable existence. I always want to be on the computer, whether that's working or just messing about on Twitter with my friends. It's just what you get used to, isn't it? So I was watching a lot of speed edit videos on YouTube.
That's right.
And I was just like, I really need to learn how to do that because I currently suck. So, there's no point denying it. We've all got weaknesses in certain programs. But I genuinely thought that I had a good knowledge of Photoshop. And it was just something, as soon as I started watching what other people were doing, I'm like, actually, I know nothing. So, I mean, I've been a designer for like 10 years.
Wow.
So I think, just for other people, you've just got to remember to sort of be humble enough to appreciate you're not going to be good at everything, no matter how experienced you are.
Yeah.
It's always worth just taking the time to stop and sort of check yourself a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people in the chat too are totally agreeing with, Steven says, I hate what I do today. I hate that I'm not better. And I feel like we've all felt that, we've all felt, you have these ideas in your head and why can't we execute them, or why don't they come out as we expect them to? And it just takes time and practice, diligence.
Definitely. I mean, if this is something that you're doing for a hobby as well, I'd say don't force it. Some days you're just not feeling it.
Yeah. That's so true.
We've all had those days. Sometimes I will, how you saw at the start, I always like to get my images roughly in place.
Yes.
And then everything sort of falls into place after that. But some days, just whatever I do, it just looks hideous. And those are the times where I think, right, you're not being productive. It would actually be more productive to step away for an hour, go and take the dog out or something, and then come back. Otherwise, you just sit like in your own head, struggling with something that clearly isn't working.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know if anyone else in the chat sort of feels like I get sometimes, where you feel a bit guilty for having a break, if that makes sense.
Yes. I know I have felt that.
Constantly feeling like you need to be productive. And then if you're not productive, if you have a weekend off where you just sit there in your pajamas, you feel guilty for it. And it's like, you need a break.
You do.
Be kind to yourself.
I mean, you can't expect to be creative like 100% of the time,
Exactly. You just get burnt out.
Yeah, exactly. The breaks are needed in order to come back at things, with a better, more positive perspective.
Agree.
Quasi says, well said, Leah. Oh, Haley says, my weakness is definitely Photoshop, so I've learned some tips already in this stream.
Yay.
I love it.
Where are we going? I just want to sort of add some additional fires into this.
Nice. Hi, Wade. How's it going?
Hi, Wade.
Love it. Thanks for joining us. And again, if we're here with Leah Jackson, she's creating these awesome composites, and we're just talking about all things, fears and and overcoming obstacles, both in our creative lives and also just, kind of translating any of those emotions into your artwork, which is, I don't know, one of the best ways I think to express yourself.
Definitely.
Oh, Cody says, yeah, I'm trying to learn to be less hard on myself about taking breaks. And Wilaku, I hope I'm saying that right. Whoa, Leah, I love the much time you're putting into the small details. You're trying to put everything into perspective. It's pretty cool what you're doing with the lava texture.
Yeah, I've just noticed we're nearly at an hour and I'm messing about with little
No, you're fine.
No, highlights take ages.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Highlights.
We should be good though.
Are you feeling the heat now?
Well, I'm looking at fire and looking at the sun. Those fears are coming back, I tell you.
Oh man, I love any chance to put in some puns or silly things.
You're making me laugh and smudge now.
Wade says, "Oh yeah, find that balance. It's always a struggle, but it's important." And he says, "Doing well. It's looking great." Noor says, "Is it okay to take a 6-month break at a certain point?"
I mean, sure.
I mean, whatever it takes.
Oh, that was the wrong button. No, seriously, I know there's a few friends that sort of overdid it a lot, and I know they sort of felt guilty because they had kids, and they said they'd quite often sit working on things, and if the kid came over, she was like, no, go away, sort of thing. And I think she sort of realised one day, and she sort of made this conscious effort to not be doing as much, and it was actually her that persuaded me not to be forcing myself to do it every single day.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Yeah, totally. Oh, Cody says, I just took a 3-month break. Everyone's so different. So, whatever you need to kind of be in a better space to create.
Great.
Jan Eric says, anyone seen the Christian Bale movie called Reign of Fire? The effects hold up pretty good and the dragons are fantastic. Love it.
I've not seen that.
Me neither. Amazing.
So watching the other day. Oh, I had a gruesome night last week. I watched like all the no, in a good way.
In a good way? Okay, good.
I watched all the Hostel films back to back.
Oh, I don't think I watched that.
Do it.
Now I have to.
But do you like gore and stuff like that?
I do.
Right. You need. I do. Yeah. You're missing out then.
Okay, I need to get into it then. I'm trying to rewatch the Dexter show because of it coming out, the new season coming out. So
when does the new season come out?
There is.
When?
I know, this year supposedly. So we'll see what happens.
I need that in my life.
Me too. Especially because, we need a little bit of they need to redeem themselves a bit.
Yeah, it didn't end in the most,
I agree,
I don't know, exciting way. Don't want to ruin it for anyone.
I know, let's not ruin it for people.
But I'm also looking forward to the Matrix 4 this year as well.
Yeah,
that will be good.
Aw, Fairy, if I take 1 week break, my skill goes poof.
Nah, lies.
You'll be fine. I love it. Yeah, I mean, anyone in the chat, if you guys have any questions for Leah, feel free to drop them in. Anything relating to anything that we've been talking about, or if you have any questions like technical skills in Photoshop, I mean, she is here for you. So yeah, this is so fun. I love watching this come together.
So I mean, I could play around with Magma for the next hour, but we'll skip ahead a bit. So now we can actually start thinking about pulling it together.
Ooh, Willaku had another fun little suggestion. By the way, I should tell you, the chat loves to make suggestions about composites.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Yes. They say it would be cool if you could make some parts of your cape catch fire. Ooh.
Okay.
Well, that's fun.
Let's try. I mean, she could do to have a bit of distressedness on her anyway.
The distressedness, yeah.
So first, I'm just going to put a solid colour in for now.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what colour it is, because I'm just going to invert it. And then I'll sample a colour from the rocks. So that's something that I always try and do as well. I'll always try and sample any new colours that I'm using from existing colours within the image. I mean, this has an awful lot of colours, but for things that are a bit more monotone and simple, you know, that can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I've just clipped this solid colour mask to her, and it just basically means that we can paint anything on her and it's not going to go outside the lines.
Ooh.
We will pick a distress brush.
Ooh. Oh, you must have quite the collection of just all the cool brushes and
I am a bit of a hoarder. But a lot of the time, I don't know what I do, but my brushes go missing sometimes. And then I'll like re-import the pack, or I think it's that pack, and it isn't. It's something else. So I'll swap out brushes every month.
Love it. We've got a couple questions. Quasi, when do you name your layers? Haha, only joking.
When?
And Fair is asking, Leah, what's your fave tool to use in Photoshop?
Favorite tool?
I feel like that's a hard question. There's so many.
There are. I'm genuinely struggling with that. Genuinely. It is probably the pen tool, just for the satisfaction that you get for creating like a really clean selection.
Yeah, love it.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just a simple soft brush.
I love it. Christine says, yep, the chat are the ultimate artistic directors. Yes, you guys definitely help us out in you know, going different routes, and that's okay, you know.
Hey, it's welcomed.
It's welcomed, exactly.
I
know there's been live streams before too, where other creatives will literally like start with like really nothing, and you know, kind of like invite the chat to really just bring out suggestions, and it's so exciting to see it come together. But so funny. Oh, thank you, Cody, for plugging that in. Yes, join the community Discord there. That's a super awesome community where you can just connect with other creatives. You can share your work based on all the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges. Thanks to Voodoo Val for doing those this week. I know we're on week 2 of the challenges, but that is where you can submit your work and get feedback, and it's pretty awesome. So, you know, definitely check it out.
Just wondering how we can sort of make this work. Maybe.
I don't know about you, but sometimes it's like these troubleshooting moments that it's like kind of exciting, you know, because you're like, okay, how am I gonna do this?
I'll just try and figure it out a bit.
Aw. Farrah says, I have many. I can't just pick one tool.
See, she's cheating there. She's asking
what
ours
she's
is,
asking
and she
you.
can't pick us. That's just cheating.
Aw, Penny says, this is amazing. I'm now following you on Instagram.
Yay.
Love it. Yeah, you can see all of her work there, which is amazing. Don't let Leah tell you that it's not.
Me? Be harsh on myself. No. Right, I'm just going to leave that for now. So I'm just conscious of time, but I will try and come back to it.
Yeah, love it. No, do your thing.
So if we start thinking about the lighting, first I'm just going to fix some things that are obviously wrong. So we need to darken the eyes a bit. This area is too light. And then can you see where this image sort of has light patches on, as though there's something coming from behind her?
Yeah.
From the stock image. So I'll just try and get rid of that a bit, because just small details like that do make a bit of a difference. Mm-hmm. So we can sort of add another exposure layer, just mask that out again. Invert the mask, sorry, not mask it out.
Fairy says, I think the brush and quick selection tool are the best tools for me. Love it.
Does anyone sort of use a lot of type tools in Photoshop? I always feel like that's something I'd quite like to experiment with, but I just always sort of run back to Illustrator and make it in there first.
Ooh.
Anyone?
You said the type tool?
Yeah, does anyone like mess about with like 3D effects or anything in Photoshop and the type tool?
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you do. That's awesome.
It's something like I'd like to learn, but it's scary.
It is. Jan Eric just commented, imagine how hard it would be to master Photoshop without the internet. Online tutorials are a godsend. So true.
But if we didn't have the internet, nobody could see how much of a disaster anybody made stuff. You could pretend you were an expert.
That's a good point.
Photoshop, yeah, completed it. Fine.
No one would see the unnamed layers, the destructive editing.
True, see? I'm sure my manager won't mind me saying this, I'm not mentioning anyone's names, but he held some interviews once, and there was a designer that went to the interview, and he said that he'd learned all of Creative Cloud in a weekend. And I was like, I need to meet this person.
Yeah.
I need that brain.
Yeah. What do you got? Like a photographic memory or something?
I didn't even read it all in that time.
What?
It just made me really giggle, and it's something that I've always remembered now. So whenever someone brings up learning speeds, I'm like, oh, I should ask that guy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Noor says, imagine if we had to download the whole internet each time we wanted to look for something online. Oh no.
With a dial-up connection as well.
Yes. Oh man, those are the days.
Aye.
Yes, Quasi, we used to have to buy magazines with tutorial CDs attached. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh man. Oh, hi Alvaro. Leah, they're asking, Leah, what's your favorite dragon movie or rendition?
Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of stuff like that. I think for me, the key thing with dragons is obviously Game of Thrones. It has to be.
Nice.
Do you have one, Arabella?
You know, I'm really bad. My memory is really awful. So I'm like trying to pick through like what dragon movie have I seen? Ooh, I'm gonna have to think on that one. I have not watched Game of Thrones, unfortunately. I'm sure people are gonna gasp right now.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
You know what? I'm sure I'd get into it. I think there's a lot of other shows that I'm into, like The Office, and love it.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Cut me some slack, Leah.
All right, you forgive me.
I'll get to it. I just, you just need to like binge a few episodes for you to like then really then get into it.
Maybe.
Cody
Right,
says, I've actually never seen Game of Thrones. See, I'm not the only one. Oh, poor Leah's like.
Can't hide my disappointment on camera either. Right. Just in terms of thinking of the lighting now.
Yes.
What I want to do is sort of enhance this glow a bit that's coming off here. So I always sort of pick a colour from the fire. Doesn't particularly matter what colour it is because you can change it later. And just make a solid colour adjustment layer.
Nice.
And then here is the other favourite blend mode. If we set this to linear.jad, looks a bit extreme, fine. I'm just going to change it to a bit of a deeper orange.
Very nice.
But my computer doesn't like me again. There we go.
Jen Eric had a really good comment. They say, if you want to master 3D type in Photoshop, Corey Barker is the go-to. I guess his website is masterfxtraining.teachable.com. He's got super great tutorials for a reasonable fee, that's awesome. I mean, if that's something that you're interested in doing, Leah, that's cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, Corey Barker. That's Corey.
Corey. Yes. There we go.
That's great.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Jen Eric.
Right, so I've just inverted the mask, and all I'm going to do is turn the flow down of the brush to, I don't know, maybe about 15. And this just means that it's not going to come out as powerful as a normal brush would, you see?
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to paint on quite a large area and just keep getting a little bit smaller until we get to the centre. Might do another large one again.
I love that.
But can you see?
Yeah.
That
looks so good already.
It looks subtle as you're doing it, but as soon as you turn off the layer and put it on again, it's like, oh God. It's quite a big difference.
Yeah. Well, now you can see the light really is like, on the dragon too. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that is that one. And then, of course, we do still have this light source up here that we don't really want to forget about. So we'll do the same for that, but this one isn't going to be as intense. So again, it's linear.jad.
Nice.
Just invert the mask.
Hi, Cherry. Welcome.
Hello.
If you're joining us now, we're here with Leah Jackson. She's a graphic designer, but also an incredible digital artist. And I want to say this again because I love your Instagram bio. Just a girl with many final files. I just love it so much. So yeah, we're here on Adobe Live, and if you're watching on YouTube, come on over to Behance. This is where you'll be able to see the chat. I'll be able to see it, and you can ask Leah questions or make any comments, and watch her create this amazing composite.
So now we're on to the highlights, which I know a few people have been looking forward to. So all we're going to do is put a hue and saturation adjustment filter on top of the girl and clip it. Then we're going to press colorize, put the saturation right up to the top, and sort of use the other sliders to try and match it with this light source. So it's obviously going to be lighter. Don't be scared about how extreme this looks.
I mean, that's the whole theme of this stream, right? Don't be scared.
Yeah. So I mean, that looks a bit ridiculous, but
yeah.
that is the color that we need. If we double click this hue and saturation adjustment layer, we'll get the blending options. So if you want to show like the darkest layers from the underlying bit, you can just drag this across. It's a bit harsh at the minute where it's picking up the dark and light edges. But if you press Option, or I think it's Alt on a PC, on these little picks, you can divide them.
That's amazing.
And now it's froze. There we go. And it sort of smooths it out a bit. You can see.
Yeah. Cool.
So, I mean, I'm not going to take out too much because I want this to be quite extreme. But it's one way of retaining a little bit of detail rather than just stripping it all out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm just going to leave it like that for this. And then again, invert that. And then all we're going to do is put your brushes back to 100%. And then just paint on the areas which you know are going to be hit by this light.
Right.
Like, you know, it's just, if you're struggling a bit with where directions come from, you know, just put the torch on your phone and hold it against your hand in different angles just to see where things would be. Like, for instance, you're not going to paint here because, you know, a lot of it is just directional.
Right.
It's going to look horrific at first.
That's a good tip, though. You know, taking your phone and just your flash and kind of seeing where the light hits, and smart.
So it's done that thing that I said it would now, where it's going to let me save, but it won't let me do anything else. So I'll just have to reopen it a second.
I feel like when it comes to composites like this, you really have to like have a good understanding of like perspective and like directionality, you know, when it comes to light, and you're probably like very observant, you know.
To be honest, it's something that I still need to work on. Again, you probably think I'm being hard on myself, but I know that what I'm doing is not perfect, but it's enough to make people sort of stop for a minute and be like, oh, how did you do that?
Well, you know, perfection is impossible.
But we can try.
You're pretty darn good at it.
So now I'm just gonna, and like I said, this is gonna look absolutely ridiculous at first. So when you do it on your own pieces, you know, don't do this and then go, oh, mine looks rubbish, and then close it. You know, keep at it, it'll come together and you'll see. So the light would
you use the word rubbish.
The light
makes me happy.
Sort of go down her arm as well. So what you need to do is sort of remember not to just go around the edges. You sort of have to remember to follow the form of her body and stuff. Right. So then you'll notice when I'm doing highlights, I'll quickly change between painting them on and then taking them off again. So all I'm doing for that is just pressing X on the keyboard. You can see it's flipping my brush from black to white. Same again, if I want a hard edge on my brush, I'm holding down Control and Option and dragging it down to the bottom. If I want it soft, again holding the same but taking it up to the top. If I want to change the size of the brush, I can again hold Control and Option and just drag it from side to side instead of up and down.
Nice.
So it's just quick ways of changing your brush without going into the settings all the time.
Chris says stunning.
Not yet.
I think he's referring to just, you know, the overall so far.
So now we can sort of blend it in a bit more. So we've got a really soft brush and we can just start going around the edges. Perfect. But you can see it still doesn't look amazing, but you can sort of see the difference now.
Here we go.
And then again, go dark. With things like clothing, you're going to get the odd like ripple in the clothes as well. So just pick that up for a little bit of detail. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this is something that I do typically take a really long time doing. Sometimes I'll do the highlights and I think, do you know what? I've misjudged that completely. And I'll have spent 3 hours doing them and I just go delete and start again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not healthy.
No. But you know what? Yeah. Sometimes it's a little cathartic, like just like deleting it, starting over.
It can be. Sometimes like I'll try and salvage something and I just think, am I just trying to fix something that can't be fixed?
Right.
Because sometimes you get a bit too in your head with trying to salvage something you've started, when sometimes it might just be better to just take a break and come up with a bit of a fresh approach to it. So, this, like I said, this does take a lot of time and a lot of patience. It's not for everyone, but it is effective.
Yeah, I love it. So you use like mostly Adobe Stock, right, to kind of pull things for your composites? Like, how often is it that you find exactly what you're looking for, or do you get, do you kind of like go in and get inspired and find your assets, or do you have a pretty clear idea?
It's a bit of a mix. I don't mind saying, when I first started doing compositing, I would go on a lot of the free sites, because I have a Creative Cloud subscription through work, so it wasn't fair for me to be downloading, for personal things. So I sort of went to free sites, but over the past year, I've just got so frustrated because the search features they're not great. Yeah. And obviously I find, being from England, we have sort of different terminology for some things than you would in America and different places.
Right.
And you find you sort of having to think like a different nationality to find the image that you want, and it just gets frustrating. So I have actually now got my own Adobe Stock account.
Nice.
Which, to be honest, I've never had an issue finding an image. The thing that I like the most, especially now that I'm starting doing images on larger canvases, is just the quality of them.
Yeah. Adobe Stock is great. Yeah.
I'm not shy on pixels.
Love it.
But I find as well, if you one of the best things to do is, say, if you want animals or something, I don't know, a wolf. If you go wolf isolated, it'll usually see right. Now you can download this stock image, which is over 9,000 pixels wide, so you're getting them all really good quality.
Yeah.
But how many is that? I don't even know. 2, 4, 6, 18 roughly. So you're getting all those different images for one license. And they're all isolated on a white background.
Oh my gosh.
So there's another trick as well. If you want anything, just put the word isolated on it.
Smart.
Person isolated. Bang.
There we go.
Where are you going to get that? On another website?
Yeah, that's so true. Thank you for showing that.
No, it's right. It's such a massive time saver.
Yeah.
But for me personally as well, I am useless with a camera. Genuinely, I cannot do it. I shake too much.
I shake too much.
So, all my pictures have motion blur, and I'm like, yeah, it's intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional.
When
Totally meant for that.
when Photoshop brought out the anti-shake filter, I'm like, yes.
I love it. I love it. I love your honesty, Leah. I love your honesty. You're just so it's great. Okay, so I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Michael, do you use any blend options when highlighting?
Yeah, sure. So we did a little bit for this. So if I just invert the mask, you can sort of see here. I'll double click it. We just changed the values here a little bit, because before we changed the blend values, we added there. If you mean on the actual layer styles, I don't usually. There are occasions. So for this, obviously, I'm using hue and saturation because it's a coloured highlight. Mm-hmm. But if I was using more of a black and white image, I might change this to luminosity.
Sure.
Rather than having it in colour.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can see straight away, it's gone more to actual light than coloured light.
Right. Love that.
If that helps.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm sure. That was a good answer. I love that. How fun.
So,
Jan Eric says, I'm slowly learning the subtle difference between an unhealthy need for perfection and listening to your gut instinct that the image needs more work. Perfection is bad. Rushing the work is also bad.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. I am, believe it or not, I am getting better at not being so harsh on myself.
Yeah.
But,
I know for some people, sometimes the harshness can be a motivator, which like if that works for you, but I mean, all of us in the chat, including me, think you're amazing. So
thank you.
So just remember that.
No, I appreciate it. I do. I mean, it can be helpful. I mean, having, you put certain expectations on yourself.
Yeah.
And it kind of forces you to learn more. But, at the same time, there have been days, I don't mind being honest about it, to be fair. There have been days that I have sat here and I have genuinely thought, I am no good at this. I can't do it. And that's just your head, Yeah. Everyone's had a rubbish year this year. Everyone's a bit down.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about like what we've been going through for the last, year and a few months or year. And yeah, I mean, you can't feel bad about needing to take breaks considering everything that's been going on and just kind of cutting yourself some slack and giving yourself grace, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Cody says, just followed you on Instagram, Leah.
Thank you.
Love it. And Robert says, looks great.
We are getting there a bit now. So I'm conscious. What have we got? 25 minutes?
Yeah, maybe? Let me see. Exactly.
So
you got it right. Wow.
That's something else. I'm like, right, what times?
No, right? Fairy's asking, how long does it take you to do like a digital art or like, a piece?
I mean, honestly, there isn't a simple answer to that. Sometimes it can take an hour, like, for instance, where are we? This Spider-Man one, it's probably the most simplest one that I've done. It's really effective, but it took half an hour.
Okay.
Then when you go to something like this, I probably worked on that for about 10 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Just because I was being so picky about matching things up.
Right. I mean, it looks so good though. You did it so well.
Well, it's one of the, like I said earlier, we're all so busy with our jobs and we all feel this sense of pressure that we need to be doing things quickly and efficiently, and it's like, it's fine to be efficient, but don't put pressure on yourself to do something within 2 hours. You know, things take as long as they take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just go with it and have a bit of fun. I find if I'm not rushing something, you know, I might do 2 hours on a piece and then not look at it for a week and then do another 2 hours on it. And I find the ones that aren't rushed actually work out best.
Better. Yeah.
By far.
So how are you? Okay, I see that you're taking your brush and you're removing, but you're going really straight. How are you doing that?
All I'm doing is pressing once wherever the brush is, so that then I'm holding shift and pressing the next place.
Okay.
And
nice.
It sort of does one big line, which is
great.
Useful in a lot of circumstances. Yeah. So you can see we zoom out now, and although
it looks so good,
although it looks quite daft when you're up and close, as soon as you zoom out, it looks
really good. I'm so impressed.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, when you first start painting it at first, don't be put off. Crazy. Yeah. It looks ridiculous,
and it looks so good. I mean, it's so interesting. I love that you're like legit painting on this layer versus like, I don't know, maybe someone else would use blending modes or like something else to like, you know, or adjustments, color adjustments. I don't know, you know, there's so many different ways, but I love this painterly style that you've got going on.
Of course. So, I mean, when you get to sections like this where you've got things overlapping, sometimes, like I've just done then, it's worth creating a separate layer so you can still erase bits of this layer without affecting
the other one.
Yeah, so Smart. It might get a little bit crazy depending on the kind of things you're looking at, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. So Jan Eric says this dragon piece is lit.
In more ways than one.
And Mart says, wowza. Farah says, so good. We're all fangirling here.
I'm glad, because this could have gone one or two ways. Everyone's been telling me to stop stressing all day.
You should be so proud of yourself right now. You are literally have overcome, you know, are overcoming and have overcome your fear of presenting and showing your process. And, you know, it takes a lot of courage to share. I think especially in this, you know, kind of the creative industry, sometimes people can hold things very closely to themselves. And so it's really awesome that you're sharing it with all of us.
Well, all the chat's been lovely, haven't you? So you've all helped me. Thank you.
Oh, I just have to say, I love your accent.
Is it not frightening you? Some people get a bit scared by it.
No, not at all. It's like soothing.
It's northern and rough. Someone once said I sound like a thug.
What? No. No, they were wrong.
I don't know. I mean, I'll take it. I don't mind being a bit thug-like.
Sure. Right? Wade says, painting, I'm here for it. And Cody says, heck yeah. Leah, you're doing great. And you're so relatable. I love it.
Wade's probably like, she's got a mouse. Stop her. I was watching Wade doing some sketching the other night, and I'm just like, how?
I love
but
it.
This is another thing. Like, I'm fairly new to Behance, and just seeing the amount of talented people, and not just talented, but talented in different areas. You know, there's always something going on. So if there's anyone watching on YouTube, I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, I would genuinely sign up to Behance and get involved with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just, honestly, you know, I was in a bit of, like I said earlier, we've all been a bit sad and cut off for the past year. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but we're still in lockdown in the UK. And I actually joined Behance because at work there's only me and one other designer.
Oh, wow.
So when it comes to actually looking at creative projects and stuff, it can get a bit, I don't want to say lonely, but you're
But
not.
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most creatives, I think even just in general, if you're freelancing or you're creative, but yeah, you can, you're one person. So, you got to find community where you can. So Behance is definitely a great way. So I thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's just a
But I
great
think
little community.
I started by doing the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with Kathleen.
Oh, yes.
And I
Shout
actually
out
sent
Kathleen.
Yeah. But I actually sent her a message to say thank you, because for me, that was the first time that I felt involved in something outside of work for a while.
Oh my God, that looks so good, Leah.
We're getting there now.
Yeah, no, it looks so good.
I am conscious a bit of time. So what I'm going to do, because I do want to work on another piece tomorrow, and the stuff that is left to do on here now is very repetitive in terms of the highlights. So I'm going to do what I can now until about 1:15, and then I'm going to flip to the file that I actually did previously, and we can go through kind of how I pull the end piece together in Camera Raw, if that works for everyone.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's amazing.
We will be doing some more highlights tomorrow, so you're not missing out.
Yeah, and now you know the process of, your day one. So day 2 is going to be super awesome. You guys will definitely want to stick around for tomorrow. So, but yeah, love it. Love exactly what you proposed, Leah. And I've got a couple of things in the chat too that I want to bring up. Alvaro says, I sometimes do the same thing, adding details that sometimes don't make the final cut. It's all the process. Aw, and Lane, I think it is. Someone said she sounded like she was from Yorkshire earlier.
Get that a lot. I'm not from the centre of Manchester, but roughly Manchester.
Nice.
But a lot of people have said I sound more Yorkshire than Manchester, but I'm not sure why.
And Wade says, my first digital work was all on a mouse. Use the tools that are available, I say. Yes.
Yes, Wade.
Oh, and Haley says, loving the highlights really brings the image to life. And then
Thank you.
Jen Eric says, Leah, I see that you're still using the old Pixel Squid plugin, but trust me, the new one is so bad. Your browser, though, the models by pages, and the pages are so slow to load. Oh, no.
To be honest, I don't even recall the last time I used this. So good spot on that. Let's see, I'm not even signed in. Come on.
Jan Eric says they even sent an angry email to Pixel Squid. LOL.
So what's happened? Have they just sort of completely messed?
I don't know. He says that the Photoshop hotkeys sometimes don't work with the plugin open, so you have to collapse the panel. Oh man, that's rough.
That is rough. I've not used that for a while. I had that with my old job.
Nice.
It was quite fun. Right. What I'm gonna do. This glow that I've added onto the volcano in the background, I'm gonna move this above her, so a bit of the light goes on her head. It's not much, it's very subtle, but can you see? Just to sort of blend her in a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Oh, Elizabeth says hello. Oh, and Matt Watson says, Emma is now asking me how to install Photoshop. Curse you, Leah.
Oh,
I love it.
Everyone in the chat give Matt some love. He knew I was nervous for today, and he sent me a little box of retro sweets. So to calm myself down last night, I was stuffing my face with all sorts.
That is so sweet. I love it.
Give Matt some love.
Oh, sending some love to Matt. Fairy's asking, how do you paint the highlight on the hair strands?
On the strands, I mean, this is one of those times where I think if I can sort of get away with it with this picture.
Right, because there's no like hair going everywhere.
Froze again, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It happens.
It's this computer. I need a new one, but I can't really justify it at the moment because it does work fine.
Yeah.
It's just because I use quite large files on this.
Right.
So in this image, I can sort of get away with it because it's only going to be reflecting there. But if I wanted, for instance, to be painting strands in there, that's probably a time where I would admittedly probably move to the drawing tablet because I find having pressure sensitivity when it comes to hair is such a massive thing. But if I'm just doing it with my mouse, I will typically avoid it.
Right.
I think actually when I master out, if I'm not mistaken, I think I painted some, so can you see I painted a few hairs using the tablet there?
Yeah.
So you can see the flow sort of changes as you go down, and that is the major difference that I find. So yeah, that's how I would would do it.
Thank you for that.
I'm sure it is possible with the mouse still. You've seen you can fade it out quite easily, but personally might be worth just shooting on. So just here as well, can you see I've tried painting this highlighting on the inside of a leg and it looks naff. So here I would probably just actually get rid of that, duplicate the layer, get rid of the mask, and then I would take the blend if off, so it actually comes through properly.
Right, okay.
And then go back to painting. We can always lower the opacity, but...
That's right.
So we can...
Oh, Robert says, I began to use the Wacom last year. Before that, it was mouse work for over 20 years. Oh my gosh. Yep.
And he's got some mouse skills.
Oh, yeah. Harry says, I never use pen pressure, even though I use my pen tablet.
Is it out? It's quite fun, actually. We do a lot of illustration work for my day job, and pen pressure is just like love.
It's where it's at.
It is. Pen pressure party.
Welaku says, the composite is really beautiful and great technique.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's
so cool.
Been so lovely.
I know. I'm telling you, I told you the chat is super wonderful, and they're just always so engaged, and there's always a lot of regulars too, which is awesome. So I always recognize some of the names.
They don't know. We were sat before we went live, and I was like, "Oh my god!" A little mini freak
You
out.
had nothing to worry about. But I love, honestly though, I love your honesty and how just, how honest you were in saying that you were really afraid to like come on and share and kind of edit live, because that in itself, is can be difficult.
I mean, for me, I'm not very good at hiding my emotions. So if I'm feeling something, I've just got to come out and say it. That might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I've survived 30 years, so mustn't offend.
I love it. Oh, right. Elaine says, yay for Leah.
Right, so there's the highlights on the go. Like I said, we've got like 10 minutes left, so I'm just going to save this, and then I'm just going to jump into the file that I've previously done so that we can go over some other bits. Otherwise, this would take probably all day tomorrow to finish as well. Nobody wants that. We need some variety.
Wow, it's crazy to see this like this little mood board of all your original assets and how it's all come together. Love it.
So this is, I'm just going to get rid of some layers. This is sort of where we end up with.
Okay.
So you can see, I'm just turning off so it looks like it was previously. So this is where we've just left the other file. All I did was then painted the highlights onto the dragon. You can see these are sort of a bit more spread out. They're less specific because
a little softer.
Yeah, they're coming in from underneath him and going up, whereas she's just backlit. So they do behave a bit differently, but it's exactly the same principle. I added in some smoke because it was too clean and my head at the time was not that clean. So we need the scene to be realistic, but I'm also trying to make it realistic to how I was feeling, which was a bit chaotic. So I have added in some fire particles at the bottom, which again were, where are we? These. And again, just change the blend mode to, I don't know which one's better. What do you think?
Ooh.
Light on our screen.
Oh, that's hard.
Does anyone else just say if red is going?
I know. I kind of like the more contrasty one. But then again, this is your thing, you know?
Ip, dip, do.
Do an eeny, meeny, miny.
We'll shove it on that. I'll say now I'm like, no, forget it. We've added loads of smoke. But again, you know, there's another example of something you can sit faffing with for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You know, there's no written laws of how long things take. So obviously I've added some smoke layers, which just to show you the basic side of that is I'll just add a solid colour, invert the mask, which I've done previously for a few layers on this one, and then I have a brush pack, which is pretty much my go-to pack, and I'm going to put a link in there to this pack on the Behance project page when I post everything tomorrow. So you will be able to find and download this pack as well.
Nice.
But you can see there's like some cloud, fog, just different brushes. So all I do is scale that up, knock the flow down to about 20, and then just paint on using the solid colour. But then that means, because we've used a solid colour fill, rather than just painting on a standard layer, if I'm not happy with that colour now, I can just double click it and change it to whatever I want, rather than having to add an additional layer and changing the hue and saturation.
Right.
So that's just the principle of all the smoke layers that have been done. So once I get to a point where I'm happy with it like this, I will literally grab every single layer, duplicate it, and sort of pray to God that the computer
usually does its job.
This is that time where you're just like, come on, please like, don't.
Please do your job.
This is even off stream. It's a tense moment.
Oh
but you can see it's done it there. Nice. And now I'm just going to press Command E, which will flatten it all into one layer.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to Command A to select it all, and Command J to make a new layer out of that selection. Okay. Just because if you look at the little thumbnail previews here, you can see like all the smoke on the edge of the canvas, which isn't actually showing, and I don't want that, so that can go away. And now I'm just going to convert this to a smart object, and we can go to filter and camera raw filter.
Nice.
You can see I've just updated.
And this is where you kind of like do more of like your treatment on like the overall image.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
So this will
cool.
be where I sort of fine tune things. So might want it to be a bit bluer and colder, or you might want it a bit warmer. To be honest, it's a lot of just playing around with different values when it comes to this. There's no one written rule that something's good for one image, it's going to be good for the rest of them. It's not the case. You know, I'll, again, being honest, how many times have I said that today? I can't remember if I bought this pack or if it was a free pack. I genuinely can't remember. But I looked online and I'm like, oh, someone give me presets for Camera Raw. And I ended up with these.
Oh my gosh. Those are beautiful.
They are, but I can't honestly remember using them once.
Oh, so
I always end up going, nah.
You're like, this is too strong.
So I always sort of increase
do your own thing.
Yeah, so I always take the whites and I press option with the whites, and then you'll see like these red areas start coming up, and these are the areas that it's going to be affecting the most. So I can just sort of get a sense of it. Nice. Clarity, I would usually bring up on my images, but because this is such a smoky image, it takes it away. Can you see?
Yeah.
So I'm not really keen on messing with that one too much at the moment.
Sure. Farrah says the blending is so good, Leah. And Fairy says the same thing. The blending, heaven sounds intensified.
Thank you.
I love it. Wade agrees. And yeah, it looks awesome. I agree too.
Thank you. It's so kind. So I'd definitely add some grain on this. I'd probably put a bit of a vignette in. I always tend to do that. I don't know if it's just habit. I really don't know. And colour grading, we're probably going to get into a bit more tomorrow, because I am actually quite happy with the colours in this. Yeah. But if we wanted to sort of change the feel, we could. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that one. But you can see the difference. It just sort of brings it together.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh. So
yeah,
good.
That's me.
That is amazing. You guys, if you have any last minute questions, I know we have a few minutes left, couple minutes. Feel free to drop them in the chat. But Leah, are we going to be able to see this on your Instagram maybe, or at some point?
Okay. I'm probably gonna make some final tweaks, because you know me, I'm never happy with anything. But I am going to put it on my Instagram.
Amazing.
There is my page for anyone that missed it earlier.
Leah_Jackson_UK.
I really don't like all the underscores. I was the late Leah to the party. All the other Leah Jacksons got in there first.
That would be a funny name, actually. Late to the party, Leah.
Pretty much sums me up, to be honest.
I love it. And make sure to go check out her Behance too. It's awesome.
I was just going to say, for anyone that missed it, I will be
cute little banner
uploading. That's from my YouTube.
Amazing. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cute, Leah. I love it. Yeah, everyone's chiming in. This is absolutely amazing, brilliant work. Yeah, we are just so happy that we were able to have you on for your day one, Leah. Thank you so much for all your hard work and for being honest with us. And we're very excited for day 2 tomorrow. So for now, we'll say bye. Make sure to tune in for the rest of the stuff that's happening today. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Leah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.